Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. I'm the Chess Nerd, and today we're going to be reacting to episode 2 of The Queen's Gambit, the powerful show on Netflix that has revolutionized chess, I think, forever. People are playing chess more than ever because of this. So this is crazy. We're going to be reacting to the chess scenes. I'm going to be telling you what's missed and what's factual about the chess scenes that they incorporated in real life fiction in the 1960s. So let's get on with it. So in episode 2, there's no chess scenes, I guess, till like 30 minutes in, which is okay. Seems like a chess magazine. Yeah, so here this is an actual chess position. They did this well. It's like a Sicilian. White is gonna castle queen, kingside. And yeah, it seems like an actual real game from the real 1960s in this dimension. Yeah, and this too. Vasily Panov, I think, he was a Soviet grandmaster, and we have Michael Tal here, right in the middle, as well Lev Aronin, also a player from the 1960s. So this is all factual. I think they actually did a really good job to script this magazine well and make it an accurate representation of a chess magazine in the 1960s. Magazines always would have the tournament calendar. This is completely well done. They would have where the tournaments are and what dates. Now I believe Beth is going to her first tournament, usually at high school during the weekend. This is factual. Super accurate so far. Enters the tournament. It would be like a little booth like that. Entry fees, yeah. The organizers would be sitting down, yeah.
Do you have a clock?
No.
We have a clock sharing system. If your opponent doesn't have one, come back to the desk.
That's also
and we'll
factual.
Play starts in 20 minutes. First prize in the open is 100.
Is it against any rule for me to be in the open?
3 guys in there with ratings over 1,800.
Okay, this is not like a tournament organizer that would just convince you to not enter a section. They would never do that. They'd just take your money. Okay, she enters tournament hall. This is a gymnasium usually. It's well done. It's well done. This is actually a good representation of a typical tournament, a weekend tournament. Actually, this is a state championship of Kentucky. Yeah. This is actually very accurate for a tournament hall. 2x2s on tables, very accurate. The pairings would be at the end, one corner of the room. Typical chess clock of the 1960s right there. Of course, clock these days are digital, so they're not like that. They're not hourly like that.
It's touch move.
What's that?
Don't touch a piece unless you're going to move it. If you touch it, you have to move it somewhere.
Touch move is very, very common method of playing chess in rated tournaments. So Beth has won her first game. She's strolling in the tournament hall. So usually this is quite accurate too. The top boards would be separate from the whole room in that they would be more pushed away or given some distance so they can concentrate further. Treated as more important. And so usually crowds, I guess, would gather this much further into the round when more people have finished their games. So that's why he would have such a crowd around him. But at the beginning of a round, this would less happen, because people are just playing their games, you know? They have a game to concentrate on and they're not looking at Harry Beltic.
Who are they?
Beltic and Cullen. Beltic's a state champion.
Which is which?
Yeah. At all times. Yeah. Super loud. This is like never tolerated in a tournament room.
Hell no.
Pretty rude. Rook d1, skewering the queen, and rook d8 mate is ensuing. But look, Beltic did not press his clock there after his move. He was just waiting for his opponent to abandon the game. I'm not all for that. Players don't do that. They usually respectfully play their move, press the clock, and wait for your opponent to resign. In this position, Beltic has the white pieces, and his opponent just played knight d4, striking the queen and the knight on e2. What his opponent oversaw was Harry Beltic just taking the knight here, and so his opponent takes back, and after Harry Beltic plays rook d1 here, skewering the queen and the d8 square, his opponent resigns. Because let's say if his queen moves to f6, or anywhere for that matter, rook d8 pursues with checkmate, back rank checkmate. So queen sack on g4, rook takes, yep. Now double bishop alignment on the king. Very nice checkmate.
Let's check.
I know what it is.
Conversations like this are very, very rare in the tournament hall. You're supposed to remain silent at all times. Takes the queen. This is checkmate by 2 bishops. So Beth's opponent plays bishop g4, pinning the queen and the king here on e2, hoping to win a queen out of this, thinking he's winning, and Beth does the tremendous move. Queen takes bishop, sacrificing the queen, and after the rook takes here, Beth has a discovery check on the rook while doing check here, and the check is the first response, so her opponent needs to make sure that this is covered or that this king is moved in the next moves. And he plays strugglingly queen f6 here, giving up a free queen. And after rook g7, it's checkmate. But Beth's opponent resigns here after bishop takes f6.
Looks like we've been stalking each other.
So now she plays Towns in the 3rd round.
Sorry.
Smoking is not allowed these days in the tournament hall, but before, smoking was everywhere. So, quite accurate. So the evolution of this game is quite accurate. Transposition from opening to middle game to endgame now. King g7, attacking the rook, and the rook moves, and this is the beauty of this. It's almost a composition. It's pretty fake, in my opinion, because something like this is super rare. That a king just traps a rook. I'll show it to you now.
You won't have to suffer much longer.
Yeah. Whispers around your game when something nice happens. Often happens. And now the beautiful fork, king and rook, wins the rook and the game. Well done. This is editing Zach here. I forgot to edit this part out, but this is Harmon's game with the black pieces against Towns, so let's see how it goes. Harmon just played king g7 here. Rook h5 is played, and now Beth plays king g6, and now the rook is just lost. Cannot go anywhere of these available seeming squares. Just for an example, rook h4, knight f3 check, takes the rook. Rook e4, knight f3 check, takes the rook. Knight c4, knight b3 check, takes the rook. And what was played in the game, the only other available move, rook a5, knight b3 check, wins the rook. And this is what was played, and this is what led Beth on to the 4th round with 3 wins out of 3.
Ready?
So this is 4th round against one of the 1800s. That's annoying. That would often happen. I would have opponents that would have little ticks, super getting on my nerves and super annoying, like would put me off my game, make me lose sometimes. Very common in chess players. So this is 5th round. This is the final of the tournament. Harry Beltic is late. Good players are often late. This is quite accurate, actually.
Sorry. Thanks for a cup of coffee. Harry Beltic.
The gather around the board is quite unusual
Beth Harmon.
because people would have their 5th round started too. So this is quite missed, I would say. People would have their game to play, their 5th round game. It's the beginning of the round. Yeah, the common habits, very annoying. Pressing their clocks, the actors are doing good. I like how the actors incorporated chess really as their main priority here. And even their movement of the pieces is quite accurate. They're taking of the pieces kind of like this and jumping the pieces up. Yeah, impolite at the table. So many of you don't know this. This is actually a reproduction of a fascinating game played in the 1960s, an actual game. that ended exactly like this. They just reproduced the whole game just for safety to avoid any mistakes.
Be right back.
Yeah, the tearing up, she's not losing. She has a perfectly good position. Bishop e6. In the game, this was a super move.
If you'd gotten here on time.
Whew. Again, conversation during a chess game never happens.
It doesn't work. I don't have to use the queen.
Move.
I'll just cover it with
Okay,
the bishop.
this is a mistake. Doesn't have to move the king, not the queen. The queen doesn't have to move, can't move here actually. The queen sacrifice on g6. This is a maiden 7. The fact that Harman saw this is quite fascinating. Reveals that she's a great player.
Son of a bitch.
Okay, a sore loser would do that. Knock your king over. Usually you just hand your hand over and handshake like they do now. But the fact that he's applauding with a smile, a frustrated player would just leave. So pardon me, I had to check my book on Super NES, on which this game was based, to check for this one. So here, Beth plays bishop e6. So really it's just a discovery attack on the rook, and if the queen takes the bishop, then you just take the rook. And so Harry Beltic defends with this in-between check on the king, permitting him to remove the queen in order to not be attacked anymore. And Harman says, I don't have to move my queen. No, it's I don't have to move my king because the king is in check here after rook h8. And if the king would move, then rook takes h1. Of course, it doesn't have to move because she says I can cover with the bishop. So it's really just a mistake here by Harman, who says I don't have to move the queen. It's actually the king in this position that's attacked. Like this video, and this video does well, maybe we'll go to Cincinnati and analyze that one. But that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please like, comment, and sub. I would love to know your feedback and if you liked it or not. Thank you so much, and have a great day.